Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Travis Dykes. Today we are going over 4 different ways that we can improve our bass tone. I always get questions about, oh man, my bass tone sounds awful, you know, oh man, what kind of bass do I need to get? But honestly, the best way of getting tone out of your bass is through your hands and through technique. So without further ado, I'm gonna show you how to get the best tone out of your bass. All right, now the first way that I feel like you need to know, this is like the foundation, okay? This is the foundation of what you should know as a bass player when it comes to shaping your tone, which is right and left hand technique. There's a few different things you can do to kind of create and get the tones that you are trying to get and mimic on like these recordings and different things like that. One of those ways is muting. Muting is a cool way, and there's a few different ways you can do it. You could put your fleshy part of your hand right here on like towards the, right over that second pickup and get this kind of sound. It's kind of like almost like an upright. Okay? And what happens is you have to use your thumb and you get that sound that kind of just makes it real round. And that's one way of getting that kind of muted tone. Another way that I like to use is muting with your left hand. So, and the way that you do this is that, so say I'm playing a note. Instead of using this hand, I'm just gonna use this hand like I normally do. I'm just gonna put these extra fingers that are not doing anything over it. So I get this sound. The only difference is that I'm using one finger pretty much to do all my notes. But the reason why you would want to even learn and do something in this technique is so you can have the speed and agility with your right hand, because it's kind of hard to do that whenever you're trying to palm mute and do, you know, with your, and kind of go real fast with your thumb. But if you're like this, you just play like it's normal. Your left hand is going to be doing a little bit more work, but you get this kind of thing. You can hear like kind of like the plucking and like it's just like, it's almost like tighter, you know what I'm saying? And I love this. I use this all the time. Now the next part of this is plucking placement. Basically, where you pluck with your right hand can determine the tone that comes out. And this is something I learned from somebody. They said, man, you know, like 80 to 90% of your tone comes from your hands. And I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? With this technique, I really understood it even more so than anything else. Basically, what you're doing is that like where you pluck on the neck and where you pluck on with your right hand can make it either sound really round or really tight or right there in the middle. So let me just give you a couple of examples. So like if you really want it to sound round, like you want to go towards your neck more. So say this is my normal spot right here in the middle. Okay, now I want to make it more round, make it sound more like a sub, make it, you know, kind of hit you in the chest a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, instead of playing right here, I'm going to play right here, right by that very last fret, right by that. And I'm going to play. You see how almost that like almost sounds like more of like a low, and almost sounds smooth, or a lot more smooth. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. If you can't really tell that much on your on this video, I promise you when you do this in like a sound system, you will tell the difference, because this is going to be more boomy and getting the sub range where it's like woo 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 woo. and then when you start going backwards, it's going to start getting more clarity. When you pair this with like a mute, that's how you get even like more round sounds, because you get a roundness from your mute, but you're also getting a roundness from where you're playing. The other way is like whenever you go to the opposite extreme, you go to the bridge right here. You see, you kind of get more kind of throatier and kind of like tighter sound when you go to that bridge. And so I usually go to that for more of my gospel stuff. You know, going, kind of getting that kind of gospelier sound. And then right in the middle, it's kind of like the most versatile tone if you just need something that just sounds really even. All right, the second way to improve your bass tone and kind of gain your control of it is to use your pickup selector. A lot of basses nowadays have this, and basically what it is that I have mine right here on this. This is my second knob right here, and basically like this little notch that it usually gets in. And when you're in the middle, that's kind of where you always want to be because it's the most even. It gets both these pickups, but what it controls like which one you get the most. So if I pull this back a little bit, it's going to pick up this one a little bit more than this one. It's going to make this a little bit louder than this one, but they're still both. It's just this one's a little bit louder. It's going to give you kind of more of a throatier, kind of like tighter bridge tone, kind of like what we were plucking way back here, you know. And now if you go the opposite way, you get more of this neck. And if you go all the way up, it's just this neck pickup. And it gets you more of like that kind of roundish kind of sound. And what I like to think about this is like almost like if you use your technique with your right and left hand, and you also like tweak your pickup selector, you can almost completely change the tone of your bass. All right, so watch this. So like if I were to do, let's say I'm like, okay, I want to do something kind of gospel. And this is how I got my tone for a lot of like gospel songs is like, I pull this back a little bit, some of this bridge pickup a little bit more, and I start playing. Like that's how I kind of get that like kind of like throaty kind of like Ken Smith kind of sound. But when I pluck at the back half, like towards my bridge, I get even more. All right, so now let's go do the opposite. So I'm going to push it up a little bit. And I'm not going all the way right now. I'm just kind of like notching it up like halfway. This is kind of like more of my like CCM. Kind of like that kind of sound where it's like almost like a P bass kind of ish sound. And then right here in the middle is kind of just like the normal. Now watch this. So if I were to go back up to this neck pickup and where the pluck up here, like I get more of like a deeper tone, and it's that kind of hits you right there in the chest, you know what I'm saying? And like when you get with some subs and everything like that, you'll really be able to tell the difference. But the thing is, what I'm saying is with this is that your pickup selector is almost like an enhancer in my mind. And if some of you guys that don't have like the pickup selectors, you just have the two knobs. You can also like, because a lot of basses also have the two knobs in tone. You can, when you crank your tone up, you kind of get the brightest sound of it, and when you crank it down, you get the kind of darker sound of it. And you can also like with those other ones is like you could cut up once you cut up this first one, you can cut down your back one and get like a more of a bridgier tone, and then you cut up the front one, or cut it back up, and you get kind of more of the neckier tone. Which I'll have to do a video on how to do it on the 4-string with just 3 knobs. But we'll get there. But anyway, so that's like the way I like to like use it, is almost like an enhancer. When I did Love Theory, my Love Theory cover, what I did is I pulled my pickup selector back just a little bit, and it gave me that little bark when I did. I don't even know. I can't remember the lick. That's how I got that tone, is through pulling my pickup selector just back just a little bit. This is a great way of controlling your tone. Number 3, the third way that you can improve your bass tone is my bass EQ, and that's what this third one is. You can actually make if your bass has like a certain frequency that it like registers in a little bit like more, like so if it's very mid heavy, or if it's very low heavy, or really high heavy. This is where your EQ can really come into play if your bass has it. Not every bass has it. Like if you have and for my people who don't have an EQ, like mine has a 3-band EQ. So check this out. So we got my mids are here, my highs are right here on this top button right here, and then my lows are right here on this low knob right here. So let me just let you hear how that sounds. So like this is everything like middle in the middle of the ground. All right, now I'm going to cut up my lows all the way. So see how it makes it completely different. All right, now I'm gonna cut up my high. I put my lows back to the center where that little notch is, and then I'm gonna go highs all the way. And here is my mids all the way. I put that my highs back at the middle notch. All right, so here we go. All right, you hear the difference between them. They have like a very distinct difference. But the thing is, the best way to hear the sound, the true sound of your bass, is to play it in with the mid, where the mid there's like a little divot that I was talking about. So like when you're turning the knob, it kind of locks in, kind of. Some basses have this, and it's very, very soft. So the way you find it, just like roll it until you feel like, roll it softly until you feel like something kind of stop it. That's where your notch is. If you don't have one, then you could just kind of try to find somewhere in the middle. And then for my players that don't really have like the EQ like this, what you can do is with your tone knob, that's gonna help make your highs or lows or mids like more, I don't know, like I guess come out more. So like if my tone knob was rolled all the way out, or all the way to the top, all the way up, then it's gonna brighten it up a lot, like kind of bring out the highs more. Pull it towards the middle, it's gonna kind of bring up the mids. Pull it towards the bottom, it's gonna make it way bass kind of low heavy, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is that if I have some basses that like they're kind of like a little too harsh with the high end, especially like whenever I'm playing like slappy kind of stuff or whatever. Sometimes I have to like cut my high end down a little bit just to kind of even it out. Or if sometimes it gets a little too muddy with my mids, I have to kind of pull my mids out, kind of make it more like scoop. So now it's all the way scooped up. So this is gonna be it with while my lows out. All right, so that's literally just kind of like a little example. And when you want to hear the true tone out of your bass, just go all the way flat and just use your hands and just kind of create that tone. But I wouldn't suggest a lot of, like if you're gonna make any adjustments, to be very extreme. You never want to have everything all the way up. You never want to have everything all the way down. Just right there in the middle, it just gives it a flat kind of true tone to the bass. So now, if you have any questions on this, like just drop comments below. Oh, and don't forget to like this video because it really, really, really helps get this video out on YouTube. So anyways, I had to do that little spill. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, my fourth and last hack. Well, really, it's not a hack. It's just a way to improve your bass tone is strings. I mean, this is going to be, this is very simple. Okay, if you don't know how to change your strings, I may throw one out. There's so many videos online of how to change your strings of bass and on guitars and stuff. So I don't really know if it's a real need for me to do one. But if you guys want me to do one, just drop a comment and let me know. But the thing is that with strings, they can make a big difference in your tone depending on what kind of strings you have. You have people like Pino Palladino. If you guys know who he is, he's a legend bass player. One of the bass players I look up to, like when it comes to like just his playing per se. But what he does, I can't for this type of music I play, I can't necessarily use his kind of strings because he uses flat wounds most of the time. And if you ever play with flat wounds are like, they're kind of like more kind of dark. They're very dark sounding. So like if I was trying to slap or try to do anything in church, like that would not come out that way. Let me see if I can recreate it. I don't know if I can recreate it. So you see how like Now that's just like a little bit of a extreme, but I don't know if it's that bad. But the thing is that like what I'm trying to say is that it darkens the tone so much to where it fits a certain style, but not every style. So there's certain strings that are more versatile than others, and there's certain strings that are made for a specific sound. Now the type of strings that I use are DR fat beams. I don't think I have a box around. No, I don't. But I have a link in the description below to the strings that I use, DR fat beams. Those are the ones I like to use because a lot of times, and the reason why they're pretty versatile. They're really versatile. But what I love about them is that like when you take them out of the box, and this is what I love about all DR strings, is that they don't bite your head off too much with the brightness. I know with some strings, like some other like string companies, whenever you take them out and you put them on, it's just like, oh my gosh. You have to like be careful how loud you play because like it's just, they're so bright. But with these, they're just like crisp right out of the box, and I just love it. I would check out DR strings. They have a lot of different strings. Also, if you're like into gospel, high beams are really great. DR high beams. Also, there are some other companies that have really great strings. I can't probably name the exact ones to use per se, but I would check out some. There's a guy named Frank Bruno. He's got some really great strings on his. I can't remember exactly what they are. You should check him out and check out his channel and everything. He has got some really dope stuff on his. Thaddeus Johnson, if you're like a gospel groove, player, great person to check out. Incredible, player. Tony Russell, he plays with a lot of different like hip hop and pop artists. You should check him out. He's got great strings as well. So make sure if you have any questions, drop a comment below or hit me up on my Instagram at @tdykes. Best way to reach me as always. And make sure you like this video. If you're liking this content, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell on the side so you're notified whenever there's a new video or when I go live or anything like that, so you're the first one in the know of what's happening. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video.